Well, thou art of passing skill. Warrior blood must truly run in thy veins. Tarnished. I am the Lord.
What's up, y'all? Thanks for joining me today. In this video, I want to do an early game build centered around the Glintstone Kris. A lot of the guides I see for this weapon are for New Game Plus, but I wanted to see if I could obtain it early and use it for a good majority of the game. This is definitely the longest and most involved early game guide that I've done, but well worth it. As you can see on the screen, I'm starting with the Samurai class and using the Lands Between rune. Before we get started with actually getting the weapon, I've gone ahead and I followed my usual starting route, which I will link in the description, but the quick and the dirty of it is, grab Torrent, pick up the golden seeds and sacred tears from around the beginning areas, have a little bit of cheese so that we can get a head start on levels, praise the sun, hoist the medallion, talk to the sweet lady with back issues, have a little fight with the Michelin man, grab some upgrade materials, and at the end of all of that, this is what my stats look like. You can adjust how you want, but make sure that you have at least 18 intelligence. We will need that for the meteorite staff. The first thing I did was decide to head and clear out the bosses that were required to get to the areas that we would need to do Sellen's questline. So first, I came to Loretta so that I could get access to Selvis's basement. Here I'm using the Bloodhound's Fang, but Rock Sling is a perfectly viable option as well. The next thing I did was go and talk to Sellen. You don't have to do that to start her quest right now, but I like having the fast travel option whenever we do get to that point. After talking to Sellen, I went to Fort Height to get the Nomadic Warriors Cookbook 6 to make blood grease. We'll use that for the fight with Rennala to make it a little bit easier. After you make a few blood grease, it's time to head into the academy. As you go across this bridge, hook a left, and make sure to grab the marionette soldier ashes. Finish off the red Wolf of Radagon. He doesn't have a ton of health and is pretty easy with the Bloodhound's Fang +4. After the red wolf, make sure to grab the Radagon icon and the extra key that we can give to Tops. Rennala is the boss that gives most intelligence characters a rough time because of her high resistance to magic, but using the Bloodhound's Fang, the marionette ashes, and blood grease, we can make pretty quick work of her. Once you hit the third creepy kid on the floor, right before Rennala comes down, coat your Bloodhound's Fang with the blood grease. It usually takes me 2 cycles to get her through her first phase. Whenever she's going to fire those white tombstones or books or whatever it is, just hide behind a pillar and you'll be okay. And again, once you hit the third enemy on the floor to bring her down, recoat your Bloodhound's Fang in blood grease. Once the second phase starts, just run behind her and pop your marionette ashes. Now they don't do very much damage, but as you can see, they will keep her interrupted because of how quickly they fire off the arrows, and that's all we use them for, is a distraction. And she also doesn't have a whole lot of health, so the Bloodhound's Fang will make pretty quick work of her as well. And now that we've defeated Rennala, we have access to come back to this room, which is a prerequisite for Sellen's questline. While going around and getting other prerequisites for the questline, I did level up some. Here are what my stats look like before we get to Radahn. If you've watched any speedruns, then you may have seen people coming in with the Bloodhound's Fang at a low level to beat Radahn. If you have the skill to do that, feel free to take that approach to it. But what I'm going to show is one of the easier ways that I've found to beat Radahn without being super over leveled. It can be on the boring side, but I have found it to be one of the safer ways to defeat him. Pretty much what I do is summon as many friends as I can, and then just keep my distance while staying on torrent and flinging rock sling at him. Now that we have the prerequisites out of the way, we can get started on Sellen's quest to actually get the Glintstone Kris. Before you leave Redmane Castle, make sure to talk to Jaren and exhaust his dialogue. Next, follow this route around Volcano Manor, all the way around until we find the primeval sorcerer Azure, and then wait 3 days for him to give us his spell. Once he gives us the Comet Azure spell, then we can head back to Sellen and show that to her. Once you show her the spell, she'll have some new dialogue and send you on a quest to find another sorcerer and give you another key. The other sorcerer is in the Celia Hideaway. It's a hidden cave just south of Fort Ferroth and northeast of the Church of the Plague. If you're not familiar with this cave, just follow me here. I'll speed it up so that it doesn't take too long. Wait another 3 days until he gives you his spell, and then after that, just go back up these crystals and let the Revenant kill you. I didn't put a clip of it in here, but go back and talk to Sellen, and then she's going to have a request for you to go find her real body. So just go to the isolated merchant shack here in the Weeping Peninsula and head northeast into the Witchbane ruins.
apprentice. There is some. My prime star has someone myself.
After you have Sellen's primal glintstone, fast travel back to the merchant again, and then come back to the Witchbane ruins one more time, and you'll find Jaren and talk to him there.
She was known as the obsessed.
Next, we need to go to Selvis's basement, so go here on the map. Go down into the basement until you see a sign, and then hit the fake wall and talk to Sellen.
My apprentice. Thank you.
Now for the last bit of the quest, we have to go back to Rennala's room and then run outside to the front door, and you'll see two summoning signs, a red and a yellow. Use the yellow to assist Sellen,
Bringer of my death. You have my gratitude
and then all we have to do is defeat Jaren.
from my shackles. And I'm afraid your work is done. Join the school to reflect on your mistake.
It was a long setup, but now we have the Glintstone Kris, and we have gathered up enough somber smithing stones to get it up to level 9. For the spells and equipment that I'm using on this particular build, I'm using the Gavel of Haima, Terra Magica, and I have a dagger in my second slot with the Ash of War Golden Vow. For the Flask of Physic, I'm using the Magic Shrouding tier and the Green Spill Crystal tier. For the talismans, first I'm using the Radagon icon until I beat Margit and get a second slot. Then I put in the green turtle talisman. As I level up and also do Ronnie's quest, I will add the Godfrey icon and the Magic Scorpion charm. The gear that I'm using is the full Confessor set minus legs. For those, I'm using the Fire Prelate Greaves, which are farmed from Fort Lad, where you get the Fire Scorpion charm. This setup gives me exactly 51 poise. And for the staff, I'm using the Meteorite staff until I get my intelligence up to level 42, and then I will switch over and use the Academy Glintstone staff. I know that this was a long setup, so if you've stuck with me this long, thank you, I appreciate it. This was a really fun build to put together and use. I had a ton of fun with it. But if you found it helpful, please don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you next time.